The first topic that is Introduction to Managerial Economics, and the first section is Basic Problems of an Economic System, right? So, first of
Yes.
all, before explaining you the basic problem of an economic system, let me just give you a small definition of economics. What is economics? Economics is simply a science that deals with the limited resources and how those limited resources are used for fulfilling or satisfaction of unlimited wants in an optimal way by the individuals and the firm in an we all know that economics. Economics is what? Economics is simply the study of economy, right? Economics
Yes.
is the study of the economy. So what is economy? Economy is nothing but the interrelated. If I need to define economy, how will I define it? It is an interrelated network or a mechanism of various elements or variables in a society. Now, what are those elements? What are those elements or variables in a society? Let me give you a brief about it. In a society, we have resources. First of all, what are the things we have? We have earlier discussed about economics, right? We have in a society, the society in which we live. In this society, we have resources. আমাদের কাছে কি আছে? We are staying in a society, right? So we have resources. আমাদের কাছে resources আছে. Resources, we define it in terms of money. Normally, what do we call resources as? Money. But why do we call resources as money? Because money is the very standard medium or normal medium for using this resources. But in economics, we term resources for land,
Labor,
labor, and
capital,
organization.
northern.
Since you have understood the last video as well, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Very good. Let us go. It would be easier for me to explain. So, economy is just nothing. We cannot define economy. Economy क्या? Economy क्या है? हम लोग बोलते हैं ना अर्थव्यवस्था. We say it as अर्थनीति, अर्थव्यवस्था बोलते हैं ना बंगाली में. What does it mean actually? It is just the interrelated mechanism or various variables or elements in a society. In our society, the place we live, हम लोग कहाँ रहते हैं? हम लोग एक समाज में रहते हैं, society में. So in a social system, we have land, labor, capital, and organization. These are our resources. Then comes next is our producers. We have producers who will produce, who will use this scarce resources in an optimal way. Then we have individuals who are producers at time and at time they are consumers. I am a producer at time and at time I am a consumer. I may be a producer for you. I may be a consumer for someone else. Maybe I'm producing, I have a manufacturing unit. I produce clothes there. I sell it out. So I'm a producer. But I'm also sending my kids to a school. So there I'm a consumer because I'm consuming these services of the school, colleges. So an individual can be a producer as well as can be a consumer, right? So
Yes.
now, as a consumer, what we do, we earn money. Then as a consumer, we consume products, right? The more we consume, the more the faster the money moves into an economy, right? So the more we consume, the consumption is fast, the money will flow into an economy in a more smoother manner. जितनी ज्यादा हम लोग यूज करेंगे ना एज अ कंज्यूमर the more you use product, the more you consume, the more is the flow of the money in an economy. Fine. Then what will happen? If I am consuming, what will happen? The money is flowing. So there is a money flow and there is a product flow. See, so many mechanisms I'm discussing in all in just a small definition. There's a money flow. See, you have given me money as a fee. I am giving you my services. This is a product or services. What flows? There's always a two-way exchange. When a transaction took place, in a transaction, so I'm writing it down, everything, see, in the entire economic system or in the entire social system, everyone is intended for a transaction. Everyone is working or all the economic activities are directed towards the transaction. Now, what are the activities? A producer. As a producer, why will I work? Simply so that my production gets sold off. I can sell off my products in the market. If I can sell my products in the market, I'll get something in return, that is money. As a consumer, why you are working hard somewhere? You are working so that you get money, you can consume more of a product. So simply every activity, every economic activities are directed towards transaction. What is a transaction? Exchange. Exchange took place. Transaction simply means there will be a product flow from one end and there will be a money flow from one end. There has to be an exchange. Exchange hobe to. You have
हाँ,
given me something and I am giving you something in return. So there has to be an exchange. If there is no exchange, there cannot be any transaction that can take place. Right? Understood? So now this product and services are flowing in the market. There is credit market, there is cash market. Now, once the money is moving into the market, there are regulators needed, isn't it? There are banks, IIBS is there, financial institutions are there, insurance companies are there, and lots of companies are there who deal with the money. So once the dealing of the money is being taken place, there are chances of manipulation as well. There is always a probability of manipulation. Manipulation भी तो हो सकता है ना?
हाँ,
Do you understand being Hindi, Kaustavi?
हाँ, हिंदी बोलती।
Very good. So once the transactions are being done, there are chances of manipulation as well. Now, once the manipulation is there, once the chances of manipulation is there, we need regulators. Now, regulators. Who are the regulators? Who regulate the entire flow of money in the market. Money and the product, both, everything. So, who all are the regulators in the economy? First is our finance ministry. The first regulator. RBI, then your IRDA is there, SEBI is there, and also there are more regulators. There are many more regulators for different units. There are different types of regulators. See, there now we have understood that there are different aspects in an economics which we are going to study. In the economy, we study the different elements that work together in a society. There are so many elements. What to in a society, there are so many things. So many things are acting all together. But what is the main aim of working? Resources, land, labor, producers, customers, transactions, so many things is there. But what is the main objective behind it? In the society, the money is flowing and the product is flowing. There's a two-way transaction every time. But what is the main aim of understanding this economics? It is simply as a producer. See, be you are a producer or you are a consumer. What is going to be your main objective? Your main objective is to understand the basic two objects, that is the scarcity of the resources and the optimum utilization of the resources. These are the two facts you have to understand. First thing is the resources are scarce. We don't have abundance of resources. We don't have abundant resources. We can use it anyway. We have scarcity. আমাদের কাছে কম আছে। আমাদের কাছে অনেকটা resources নয়, so that we can use it anywhere. So as a management professional, how is going to help you out? As a management professionals, if you are working in any company or maybe you are an entrepreneur, how will you think about it? How economics is going to help you out? How it is going to help you out? তুমি কিরকম বুঝবে that economics is going to help you out? How it will help? Simply, you are a manager of any company, right? So as a manager, what will you think? Suppose let's see, your company has given you a target. A company has asked you to appraise two project proposals. You are required a given target that appraise the project A and project B. That means I have to appraise this two projects. Appraise in the sense I have to understand the basic concepts of this project. Project A and project B. What is the initial investment? How I am going to get the return? What is the profitability, NPV, and what everything about it. So, as a manager, what will I do? I have to understand the basic concepts of economics. That is, what is going to be the ROI? What is the impact of the price? What is the demand? What is the supply elasticity? There are so many variables we will be understanding in economics. Fine. So this is all about the basics of economics. Now let us move towards understanding the two basic things, that is the micro and the macro level of analysis. In the economics, we study every aspect into two levels. One is the micro level and another would be the macro level. You can simply understand the micro level is the in-depth level, the smaller level, yes, the smaller level, and this is the macro level. Macro level is at the broader level, or rather we can say at the aggregate level. When we discuss about the Kolkata market, if I discuss about the MBA students in Kolkata market, then what will happen? What is the level
So
of
my
analysis? Micro level. Now, if I will say the analysis of MBA students all over India, it is definitely the aggregate. So it becomes the macro level of analysis, right? Now, as per the syllabus, I am going to the very first topic, that is basic problem of an economic system. See, in an economy, in any society, as we all know, that resources are scarce. So, the three basic problems of any economic system centers around three questions. What to produce, how to produce, and for whom to produce. Now, before you explain the answer of economic system, let me explain you what is an economic system. What is an economic system? An economic system comprises of all the mechanisms, all the variables, all the related aspects of an economy which helps it to allocate the resources in a most efficient manner, which determines the economic system will determine how a system or a country is going to allocate its scarce resources in an economy. The type of economic system they are following. Every country has their own set of policies. Every country follow their own system. That is, this is the system I am going to use my uh, allocation of resources. See, I have my this much amount of resources. I can allocate it simply into one product. Let's say, just give you an example. Let's say I have 100 rupees. Maybe I buy only one product. 100. One product I got, and I'm going to return to my home. This is one system of allocation, right? Maybe another individual or another country, they would allocate their resources like this. They have 100 rupees, they would allocate 50 rupees to one, another 50 rupees to one. This is also a type of allocation. And third country, there's one more country, they allocate like this: 20, 40, 40. This is also a type of allocation. So simply an economic system will determine how a country is going to allocate its scarce resources into its different economic functionalities. There are different economic roles that a country is required to contribute to. The ministry is required to implement certain policies. That is why we have different ministries and different governments working on. Why? There are so many projects running, so many healthcare systems which has to be done by the government. Policies are there, policies preparation, implementation. So it all depends on the policies of the economic system. According to the economic system, only this all works, right? Everything works according to this economic system, right? So now there are three types of economic system. One is the capitalist economy, or we also say the capitalist market. Capitalist. Another is socialist, and third one is the mixed. Now, what is the capitalist economy? See, in a capitalist economy, everything related to production, distribution is decided by the private players in the economy itself. It is not decided by any government or no, not for social policy. It totally depends on the price mechanism. Now, what is price theory or price mechanism? Price theory or price mechanism simply means that it depends on the demand and supply. Capitalist economy works on a profit motive. The person, the producer who have money, who think there's a chances of increasing profitability, there's a chances of earning profit, he will just invest it without considering other anything. So capitalist is profit centered, or capitalist is a profit motive. So everything works according to the demand and supply in an economy. We have demand for certain products and accordingly we have supply. So demand and supply both contribute to they both coincide and then determine the equilibrium price. Demand and supply will match together. कहीं ना कहीं वो match करेंगे and accordingly they will have an equilibrium price, the equilibrium quantity. Fine. So in a capitalist, everything is determined as per the price mechanism. There is no intervention by the government and nothing other are required to be considered. Fine. Now, in the socialist economy, next would be our socialist economy. In the socialist economy, it is also called as command economy or centrally planned economy. Here, everything is controlled by the government. See, USA is an example of capitalist economy. In USA, everything is determined by the private player. Everything is done as per profit motive and it's produced, everything is investment or production, everything is determined by the demand and supply forces in an economy. Next is our socialist economy, which is also called centrally planned economy or command economy. Socialist, as the name itself defines, that means for social causes or a centrally planned economy. Here, everything, all the resources and its allocation is determined by the government. Government plans for the entire economy. Government thinks whatever is suitable, they would plan and allocate resources accordingly. Cuba is the best example of socialist economy as of now. Russia was also there, but now Russia is no more socialist. Now, last one is our mixed economy. In mixed economy, we have both type of players in the market, private and public. Publicly, where government has invested funds. So that is for public utility and for public benefit. So in mixed economy, we get benefit of both private and public. India is the best example of mixed economy.
Mix.
Understood? In India, we have both private and public. Now, let us move to our three problems, the basic problem of an economic system. What are the three problems? First is what to produce. Now, what do you mean by what to produce? What economy, excuse me, so let us continue with the basic problems of an economic system. So, an economic system, be it capitalist economy, socialist, or mixed economy, in every country or in every economic system, the foremost problem, what is going to be the foremost problem? The first problem that any economy, what is the first problem that they will find is scarcity
Scarcity.
of resources. Yes. The first and foremost thing is scarcity of resources. So every economy, be with any type of economy, be it capitalist, socialist, or mixed, any economy, the first and foremost thing they have to think is about scarcity of resources. There are not so many resources or abundant as I earlier discussed. Resources can limited, resources limited, and that is why they encounter this problem. What are the problems? First problem, what to produce. सबसे पहले क्या आता है? What to produce. क्या प्रोडक्शन करना है? फाइन. प्रोडक्शन क्या करना है? This is in accordance with the economy's demand. How to produce? What we are going to see, what to produce is totally dependent on the areas, the resources availability, the demand of a product. Accordingly, we will produce. How to produce? Now, there are two types of economy. One is labor intensive and one is capital intensive. It means in that economy, if we have more labor, so we can say that we have more labor and we can use labor intensive techniques of production. And if we have more capital, like USA, it does not have more of labor. They have more of capital. Capital only product and capital. That is why everything is done on machine. So, how to produce? What techniques we will be using? So in India, like in India, we use more of labor intensive technique because we have abundance of labor and limitations in terms of capital. আমাদের কাছে labor অনেক আছে, but we don't have that much of capital, right? That is why how to produce, we use it in terms of labor. And for whom to produce. See, whom is the most important consideration which has been given the last, but it's not the least. Because for whom to produce, who is our consumer? This is our main target. As an economist or as a producer, what will I first find? I will not first see my resources. I have to check my market first. Meri market kahan hai? What is my opportunity? How will I define my opportunity? I'll define my opportunity in terms of the number of consumers available, the population. Fine. So whom to produce? Who are my consumers? I have to define my consumers, the age group, everything. So if my consumers are defined well, then I can produce. First question should be whom to produce. Actually, if logically, if you go as a management professional or as a decision maker, what will you consider? What will you consider first? First, you will consider whom to produce. किसके लिए प्रोडक्शन करना है? फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल मुझे समझ रहा है ना, मैं जो प्रोडक्शन करूँ किसके लिए? Then what to produce? अब उसको क्या चाहिए? And then how to produce? This should be the logical way of going through this basic problem. So this is the basic problem of an economic system. These three questions which arises in encountering this problem, and how we are going to solve this problem. In an economic system, we will be solving this problem by understanding and analyzing the production possibility curve. We have to understand the production possibility curve. Then we have to understand the impact of demand, the demand elasticity, the price elasticity. After that, we also have to understand, after this, we will also be understanding the cost function, the cost factor, the production functions, as well as we will also move into and we'll understand the macroeconomic variables which will have an impact on the economic system. So these are the different mix and match things we have to understand while writing the answer. See, the pattern of MAKAUT is somewhat different with other universities. So in the MAKAUT, if you have to write the answers for, if you get a questions like this, what are the basic problems of an economic system for an 8 marks question? How you have to write? How you are going to write? Simply, first of all, you have to explain what is an economic system, the type of economic system, that is capitalist, socialist, and mixed economy. Then you explain the basic problems of an economic system, what to produce, how to produce, whom to produce. This answers, whatever you are writing, this answers should be supported by an example. Everything, what to produce. If you are writing what to produce, then it must be backed by an example, so that examiner can understand how to produce. Then what is the statement, how to produce? What does it mean? Labor intensive technique, capital intensive technique, how, whatever is the mechanism we are using, then example, whom to produce, right? So this way you will be defining it and giving an example. After this, we will give a full example in a detailed manner, right? Then you should also write a suggestion, small suggestion for this answer. That is how we can solve this basic problem of an economic system by understanding the different variables of microeconomic and macroeconomic to solve it. Understand? Then finally you have to summarize. This is going to be the pattern for writing this. Is this clear, Kaustavi?
Yes, ma'am.
So I hope